Hey, what's up, lovely people? I'm the Lemesis, your nemesis, but you can call me Lem. Um, I'm here to do just some chatting. I want to record a video to post up later on YouTube about my reaction to what Jazzarus said. So just to pay homage and respect to Jazzarus, right? Jazzarus is a YouTuber. It looks like he has a Twitter page, a Twitch, and of course his own YouTube channel. So I just want to point you guys in his direction. This is Jazzarus. Check out his Twitter page. You should probably subscribe or follow, and then check out his Twitch as well. He seems like a really cool dude. He makes me laugh a ton. I really like watching his videos. He gives on these angry rants. We don't, I don't 100% agree with his opinions, but I think we both have that same kind of energy on where we stand when it comes to MarvelSnap. So that's why I wanted to go over this today. So you can follow him on Twitch, as I just showed you, and then here he is on YouTube. So let's increase the subscribers. As you can see, I'm already subscribed. So I like watching this guy. I did watch his other video on the video Second Dinner Doesn't Want You to watch. Let's Go Whaling, the mobile games monetization. So this was really interesting. I watched the video, like I started watching his video, and then I went directly to the source. I watched that, and that was quite interesting. So maybe we can do that another time. But today, I want to react to his video called MarvelSnap News, the Developer's Responses number 10. New card releases and game balance. So there were some things right at the beginning that I thought was quite interesting that I wanted to kind of just talk about. So that's what this session is going to be. Hope you come and join me. What I'll do is I'll record this and then I'll post it on YouTube. And we'll go from there. So let's do it.
I just want to know what they are talking about in here, I heard several times these type of abilities are required to keep certain decks in check. So my questions are, if these cards are balanced to keep top tier decks in check, doesn't that make all other decks far worse? Decks that people call fun become impossible to play.
I agree. He's about to say this is true. I agree. He said, I'm seeing here, I heard several times this type of abilities are required to keep certain decks in check. So my questions are, if these cards are balanced to keep top tier decks in check, doesn't that make all other decks far worse? Decks that people call fun become impossible to play. Yes. I'm going to go out on the limb and say this very specifically. I've been saying this for months now. So I'm not trying to take credit away from Jazzarus. I believe he's been saying similar things as well. But I've been saying all we're doing, this is partly where we disagree, because I am a person who believes cards like Leader belong in the game. I believe cards like Leech belong in the game. And that's why I wanted to respond to this, because I think this is leading down the direction that I've always been stating the entire time. Every card in the game should be overpowered. I don't know how many times I have to say this. Every card in MarvelSnap should be overpowered. You should have an Electra that's retarded, like just out of this world. Electra should be like an 8. I think Dr. Doom should be like a 20. I think every card should be reevaluated and pushed to the extreme. Make them over the top. Then the fun value of this game goes up to a level 100. I'm telling you. That's what this card game is missing. And then you're going to ask yourself, well, what happens if every card in the game is overpowered? Well, guess what? If every card is overpowered, then you achieve the balance that you've been trying to get. This is what I've been trying to say. Because what's going to happen is, again, I said this on several videos, and I might have said this on YouTube in addition to some of my Twitch streams when I've done MarvelSnap gameplay, is that what MarvelSnap or Second Dinner is doing is they are inappropriately nerfing cards without evaluating the big picture. What I'm saying is, if we have, again, I don't know how many cards are in the game right now. I think there was like, 70 something cards in series 3, and 60 cards and 2. And so let's just say there's 300 cards in the game right now. They're going to be releasing more cards over the next year, 2 years, 3 years, hopefully for many, many years to come. So let's say 5 years from now, there are going to be hundreds of cards that we have not ever seen released in the game. They're nerfing cards now based off of a limited pool of cards, not realizing that the cards that they're going to release will also impact the game. So even if you logically approach nerfing cards based off of the current structure of cards in the game, that's a very illogical approach because you're not anticipating the future cards you're going to release in the game. So I saw the writing on the wall. This part he's bringing up right now that he's going to talk about will eventually lead to cards like Shang-Chi, Cosmo, Sandman. What they're doing is they're not being logical in their definitions. They say that they want to make sure that the meta is not overtaken, right? But they're allowing cards like Sandman and Shang-Chi and Cosmo to always be dominant, to always be overpowered. And what's going to happen is there's a set number of cards in the game that are fun. Then when they keep eliminating all the fun cards that people are playing with, like they've been doing, Zabu got eliminated, boom, shot down. Silver Surfer got shot down. Leader got shot down. Leech is probably going to get shot down. Shuri's going to get shot down. Eventually, you're going to lead to where people are going to be annoyed because every deck feels the same. And I'm telling you, making every deck feel exactly the same is going to kill the game. I've seen YouTubers talk about how, man, this card game, there's so many card decks. There's so many decks that are viable. No, bro. Decks need to be viable with this in mind, that every card is overpowered. Everybody should feel powerful. When you're playing a game like this, you want to feel powerful. You want to feel like I hate saying this, but we're little G's, like biblically, so it's not blasphemous to say. You want to feel like a god, right? You want to feel like, yes, I am putting my will on the board. That's what you want. And what they're doing right now is not that. You don't feel powerful. You don't feel like you're having fun. The only people feeling like they're having a lot of fun are the Shuri decks. But that's because you nerfed everything else. Think about that. Shuri was out when Leader was here. Shuri wasn't causing the menace that she was causing. So that means what you should have done was you should have released more cards that would have made people feel more overpowered, and release cards that counter the dominant meta. So if you don't have a card that can really let's say you come out with Leader and Leader's just, oh my God, he's absolutely amazing. Then you just make another overpowered card or series of cards to counter that. That's what they should be doing. But what they're doing is so stupid right now. They're going to lose. If they haven't already lost the player base, they're going to lose even more. Because again, I keep trying to tell people this. I'm the whale. I'm the whale. I've spent over $2,000 on this game. I know what I'm talking about because I put my money where my mouth is. I've spent money on this game more than the average person. That's not to brag. That's not something that I'm happy to share. That's something that I'm sharing with you to give you insight on my reasoning. Like, bro, if I'm saying this, then that kid or that adult who didn't spend $10 on a premium pass, your experience is 10 times worse than mine. And if that's my experience, if I'm complaining about the game, if I'm here with Jazzarus watching his video and being like, bro, what is going on here? This game is terrible. And I'm only invested in this game just because I spent money, right? And I also think the concept's really cool. You know, there's another game, I think it's called Land, Sea, and Air. It's an actual board game. That's what kind of led me, first off, Marvel led me into this. But this is a very similar concept to a board game called Land, Sea, and Air. There's other games just like it, where there's just literally 3 locations, land, sea, and air, and you get to play your cards down for the point value. But this is digitally. If you ever took this card game, MarvelSnap, and tried to make it a real card game, it wouldn't work. You would have to have like some digital board that you play on just to calculate the difference in points on all your cards. Now, if they could create that, if they could create a board where there's chips in the cards and it could read what the card does and then dynamically give you the points, then, oh my God, this card game would be incredible. I actually would stop playing. I would stop playing the digital version and I would just buy the hard copy of this game, and I would get as many cards as I possibly could get, and my wife and I would just play this over and over and over again. It'd be so cool. Again, like, it'd be kind of hard to do it with certain cards like Arrow, certain cards like Hobgoblin, you know. That would be quite interesting. But you know, that would be really cool. I don't want to get straight off topic. But I really think that eventually, if we keep nerfing these cards and not make every card overpowered, we're going to eventually attack all these cards that for some reason Second Dinner just thinks is okay. And that leads to another issue that I have is why are the developers forcing the new meta? Why do people who play this game think it's okay for them to change the meta? No. If they change the meta, it should be, hey guys, we just released 30 new cards. Figure out how to make these cards great and fun. Go have it. Not, hey, we're not releasing 10, 12 new cards. We're going to add one card a week, but we're going to nerf all of these cards, and then you have to figure out how to make the new meta for the game. That's the problem. It should be the reverse. Right? If the developers are going to impact the meta, it should just be we're impacting it by just adding new cards to the game, not impacting it by nerfing the cards. You should only buff, never nerf. Right? So let's keep going with Jazzarus here.
This is a good question. Why is it wrong to play a lot of cards last turn? Lich, Sandman, are in location keeping decks in check already. Is it healthy to have one card make you lose and retreat a game early? This is true, brother. This is true. The cards checking various strategies are all intended to be viable but not dominant in their slot or even good everywhere. And that is the problem in MarvelSnap, Glenn, that they are good practically everywhere.
Bingo. He is right on the money. Sandman is good everywhere. Shang-Chi is good everywhere. Cosmo is good everywhere. Arrow, before she got nerfed, was good everywhere. Like, you can't, like, you're picking and choosing. You want to annoy people by removing these cards that are like leader and Arrow, you nerf, and Thanos with his stones, but you don't do anything to Cosmo. You don't do anything to Sandman. You made Sandman better. You don't do anything to Cosmo. There's nothing to counter Cosmo. That's not going to help the game. And again, I'm not promoting to nerf Cosmo. I'm not promoting to nerf Shang-Chi. The only problem I have with Shang-Chi is what did this hero do to make him so powerful that he could just kick people in the face? That's all I'm saying. Like, Shang-Chi is not that guy. Let's stop it here, okay? So let's stop acting like Shang-Chi could just beat everybody. So that's just me from a Marvel perspective, from the lore. But I'm just saying, no one's countering these cards. These cards are so overpowered. But none of the other cards are overpowered. So make them all overpowered. If Sandman is going to be in the game, then that means Galactus should not be a 6'2". Galactus should be a 6'10". I'm just spitballing here. But when I'm saying Galactus should be a 6'10", that means all the other cards in the game should be buffed up as well. Right? Make every card viable to play. Right? How about Elektra? She destroys all one-cost cards in this lane. So let her throw out a bunch of blades and just katanas and boom, boom, boom. She destroys him in this lane. Killmonger, he destroys all cards on the board. And then buff up Elektra, right? Killmonger, he destroys all the cards on the board, but make him like a 3/8. But then Elektra, make her destroy all the one-cost cards in the lane and make her like a 1 or a 2. And buff her cost up to a 2 and make her like a 2/7. I am suggesting a drastic change of power level across this entire game. Every card should get a facelift. I'm taking these cards down to California, and everybody should get some Botox. Everybody should get some injections. Everybody should get a tummy tuck. Everybody should get improvements. We need to bring back the old Mr. Negative. Whatever he was when he was retarded before beta. I didn't get to play during beta. So I didn't get to see what he was, but I hear YouTubers talk about it. Bring him back. That's what needs to happen. Hear me out. If you do this, every card in the game will be balanced because every card would be overpowered. Then every deck is viable, right? That's all you need to do. Because if you let's say you make Mr. Negative, right? Mr. Negative now becomes like a 5, a 4, 6. Now people got to reckon with that dude. Now do you think that, like, do you really think that Leader's going to go rampant and all these other cards are going to go rampant? Especially if you have counters to them as well. So the new cards that get released should be counters to these powerful cards that have already been released. And then you include newer cards that are even overpowered in and of themselves that create a new ability or a new chain of abilities. Just keep giving us options. I want to go to the grocery store and pick out the milk that I want to drink. There's almond milk, there's soya milk, there's canned milk. There's what do they have now? They got all types of milk. They got oat milk. Give me all the milk possible so I can choose. And then I can make my food the way that I want to make it. Don't eliminate all the milk and just say, nah, bro, there's only dairy cow milk and that's it. No, give me options. I can experiment. You're doing the keto diet and you're like, wow, I can eat this cake and it has 1 net carb per slice because they found ways to include ingredients that make the texture and everything taste the same, but it's just different ingredients. Now it might cost more, but you gave me options. That's what Second Dinner's job is supposed to be. I'm calling you out, Ben Brode. Get a hold of your team, because what Glenn is saying right here is illogical and stupid. The cards checking various strategies are all intended to be viable, but not dominant in their slot or even good everywhere. Wrong. They're good everywhere. And what you need to do is every card in the game needs to be fantastic. Every card in the game needs to be super overpowered. Building a deck exclusively checks won't be strong enough to compete, for example. It's not wrong to play a lot of cards on the last turn, but if everyone's doing it, that's too much. Part of the core fun of Snap is interpreting and reacting to enemy plays that are visible. So, how do you do this? You create viable decks with new cards that not just counter, but give you an entirely different strategy that's just as exciting, that doesn't force you to play all your cards on the final turn. Oh, that's logic, Glenn. Did I just stump what you just say in just a few sentences? Yes, I did. All you have to do is create deck styles, card styles that give you the ability to end the game in different fashions. How about you create a deck style that lets you set up the final play on the first or second turn? You ever thought about that? Wouldn't it be interesting to see the person's final gameplay on turn 1 or turn 2? I don't even know what that ability looks like right now, but I'm sure you could design a deck that, like, oh snap, he put that one card out on turn 1. I know what this jigger's about to do, and there's nothing you can do unless you hit him up on turn 5 or turn 4 with XYZ card. Or you might have the card in your deck and you're like, ooh, I got to draw that card because I got to stop this dude, because if I don't stop this dude, he's going to keep building it up. There needs to be something like that. For instance, I would love to see a deck that would take somebody like Colossus and you could like duplicate him and then buff him so then no one can destroy him. That would be so cool. Now, Moon Girl, I don't think will do it, but there should be other cards like Moon Girl that might buff cards like Colossus or duplicate cards like Colossus and spread him everywhere so that he can't be Shang-Chi'd and maybe he grows stronger. Little things like that you guys aren't thinking about. Let's continue, Jazzarus.
What I am trying to say is that tech cards in MarvelSnap are too good.
Yes.
We are looking at Cosmo. We are looking at Killmonger.
Preach
we
it.
are looking at Armor. We are looking at Shang-Chi, brother. Shang-Chi is a big offender.
I hear you, brother. 100%.
So these cards are just too powerful. Tech cards in other card games are useful cards to keep in check these strategies, but they are usually not the best cards. In MarvelSnap, these are the best cards, and that is why you have had some meta games where you put all these cards in a deck, and that is the best deck.
Yep, that's sad. That's what Bootman did. Bootman put Enchantress, Shang-Chi, Cosmo. He put all the control cards in one deck, Arrow, and he just beat the brakes off of everybody before they made the changes to Infinite. That's stupid. Again, that's Second Dinner telling me that they've decided this is going to be the best cards in the game. And all the other cards that you deem fun, we're not going to make you have fun with those. We're going to keep these control cards in the game, and we're going to nerf all the other fun cards. This game is so boring to play, bro. It's so boring. And the worst part about it is, I wouldn't give a rip if it wasn't Marvel. Because guess what? I wouldn't even be playing it. But again, another company takes advantage of the Marvel license and just puts all of the Marvel heroes and villains into the dirt. No respect. Where's the respect? Put some spec on these cats' names. Why is Elektra running around looking like you know what? I don't want to curse right now, but you're looking like trash. All these cars looking like trash.
That is fucking stupid, brother. Building a deck of
exclusively
checks won't be strong enough to compete, for example, but it was Glenn, it was a while ago, and the only reason it isn't right now is because Shuri been bullshit. And even then, if you want to compete with Shuri, you have to have Shang-Chi in your deck, for example.
Bingo. Again, they're forcing you to play. I remember I got a response to one of the support members when I was complaining about the meta. I was complaining about cards being nerfed, and I was like, I was complaining about cards being nerfed, and I was complaining about how my matches seemed to be mirrored, or I kept getting the counters. Every game I was playing, I was getting the counter of my deck style. So if I played a deck style that had Galactus, every person knew exactly what I was going to do. Arrow, they would have all the cards that they needed to stop it. Oh, I'm going to Polaris your 3-cost card wave into this location because I know exactly where you're going to Galactus. There's 2 lanes left, and yeah, you could say it's a 50-50 chance, but they would always do. I kept playing everybody who was doing, I'm going to throw down I'm going to put debris down. Oh, and they would have like debris and not in a Patriot deck, in the most stupid deck possible, just to get you to retreat. It was so dumb. And then guess what they said when support responded back to me? Well, maybe you should just have Cosmo and Shang-Chi in your deck to help with counters. You stupid, like that's the point. That's the problem. Is support telling me to put in control cards that Second Dinner deemed to be in every person's deck? So that's telling me that Second Dinner immediately, at the bare minimum, thinks you should have Cosmo and Shang-Chi immediately in your deck. Does not matter what other cards are in the game. Shang-Chi and Cosmo should always be in the deck. That means they're defining that card as overpowered. But then they're contradicting themselves when they take cards like Thanos and Galactus and nerfing them. That's contradictory. Is anyone hearing me right now? Like, for real? Come on.
It's not wrong to play a lot of cards on the last turn, but if everyone is doing it, that's too much. Part of the core fun of Snap is interpreting and reacting to enemy plays that are visible. We also want to ensure decks that commit early are viable, because that's more diversity in our gameplay. Then you shouldn't have built a deck which core designs revolves around surprising your opponent because of the snap mechanic. Again, boys, because
you know how I feel about the snap mechanic.
Makes people to want to surprise the opponent so they don't retreat. So you are incentivized to make 6-turn strategies. If the snap mechanic didn't exist, you can have tempo strategies, early game, aggro strategies, whatever, I don't fucking know. But the snap mechanic incentivizes people to play on the 6th turn and reveal their stuff where the opponent can't react to it. So if you want that, you are in the wrong game. So you are incentivized to play it on the last turn. Look,
Bingo. And I think the snap mechanic should be gone. One, you can call the game MarvelSnap. You can keep the snap mechanic in the ranking system, but there should definitely be a game mode where there's no snapping. I don't understand why people think the snap mechanic matters. All you have to do is this. You ready? Remove the snap mechanic and don't allow people to retreat. Force every person to finish their game. That's it. Just force us to finish the game. Or not even retreat, just concede, right? There's a concede. If you don't want to keep playing with a person, you concede. That's it. There's no need for snapping. You already designed it, right? You had the hearts, you have the whole life bar thing and then snapping. That's fine. I'm pretty sure that most people don't even play that mode anymore, the friendly battle, because who's going to have, dozens of friends to just go, bro, let's play MarvelSnap all day. Let me send you a code. You send me a code. I'll send you a code. Let's send me a code. Nobody's doing that. So they're coming out with Conquest, and that's what we're hoping is going to actually help save the game. Because one, you're not going to play against bots. Two, you're just going to play against people. Then we're going to really see, well, do you have enough people playing this game just to keep that going? Am I going to just sit here waiting to be connected to someone? Probably. That tells me not many people are going to be playing your game, and probably not many people playing your game now. The longer you wait till June to drop something like that, the less people are going to be around to want to play your game, Glenn and Ben Brode. The snap mechanic should be removed. There should be a game mode where you don't snap. It is just play cards and you lose or you win. That's it. That's it. That's all you got to do. And guess what? It's all about winning and losing. If you concede early, it's an L. If you go to the end, you win. You lose, and you still take the L. That's it. Then it's based off your win-loss ratio with, of course, RNG incorporated because you didn't get the cards you needed at the right time. I think people would have zero issue with that because you're acting like winning and losing still doesn't matter. Well, no, you're just creating a game mode where winning and losing matters. And now you just give rewards based off of winning and losing. And then let's say if you want, you throw in a concede, but the concede is like half a loss, right? So when you lose at the end of the game by going to turn 6 and you turn all the cards over and you lose, you take 1 loss. But if you concede early, you get half a loss. How about that? That's all you have to do. And then basically, based on your win-loss ratio, and you got to base this off of like multiple games, right? You got to see the average person. How many people are winning? How many people are losing? How many games? Like, if you're just playing well, what's the balance based off your deck? And then you can start giving rewards. You can start saying, hey, if you got a win ratio of this, or if you win X amount of games in a row, if you average a percentage of victories when you play against people, if you have a certain amount of losses in a day, whatever it is, based on reasonable gameplay, which is you should do the studying first, right? You drop the conquest mode or you drop the new mode, study people playing it, having them randomly match with people. But I think the issue is they don't want to come out with this, not because it will ruin the snap mechanic, because it will move people away from the rank. Because they know the rank mode is trash. And I know the rank mode is so garbage. Nobody wants to play that to go get some stupid golden card back. And then they give you the same card back. And honestly, there's a Cosmo card back in the season pass that's 10 times cooler than the card back of the stupid cat at the end. You're like, bro, I want to get the cool Cosmo card back. I don't even like Cosmo, and that card back looked better than the stupid cat one that's gold. And guess what? I got the black cat one. I don't need the gold cat one. I'm telling you, man.
Locations provide a lot of variance and replayability, and they do help ensure no one strategy can be repeated with perfect success. Wrong. Shuri and Thanos are repeated with perfect success. But the answer to the best deck can be, I hope the locations horrid, because it feels arbitrary and also lacks the fun of modifying your deck to attack different matchups. That part is true, and I agree completely with that part. If there's a diverse range of viable decks, it's fine, even good for...
Let's talk about locations, man. Locations are retarded. So that tells you most of the locations that are coming out are gonna be terrible. Why? Because locations provide a lot of variance and replayability, and they do help ensure no one strategy can repeat it with perfect success. But the answer to the best deck can't be, I hope the location hurt it, because it feels arbitrary and also lacks the fun of modifying your deck to attack different matchups. Again, I do like the locations, but you've designed the game around the locations. All the cards have to take the locations into consideration. So it's not just the cards. It's the locations. You've put too much weight on the locations. I'm not saying that the locations should just be ruins on all 3 lanes. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is you can have crazy locations that aren't just copy of cards. That's another thing. Locations should be dynamic themselves, meaning there's no other card in the game that does what the location does. But you do that already. You do that a lot. And that makes the game really stale. And then you have these locations dependent. That's why I know you take the decks into consideration. Because what you're actually saying is we look at your decks, and then we have all these annoying locations, and we throw out these annoying locations to make sure you can't go rampant on the ladder. That's what you're doing. And that's not healthy, because you're not allowing the cards to breathe. You're allowing the locations to breathe. And then you're choking the cards. All the cards, now the cards can't speak up. But if you made all the cards overpowered, then it wouldn't matter what terrible locations you added into the game, because I know I'm going to be able to do what I want to do within reason. So that's why the cards should be overpowered.
Some of them to
All of
almost always
them.
retreat to certain cards. That is true too. In other card games, you have this thing where your deck is good to a certain group of decks, but it's bad against certain group of decks. The way Galactus fears the Re or Seraph fears Sandman. If the card makes everyone retreat, that's not healthy. That last part I completely agree with.
But that's your problem. Your cards do make everyone retreat. Your locations do make everyone retreat. And just to even get to infinite, you have to retreat by default 30 to 40% of the time. So, like, you gotta be kidding me. There's a chance you could retreat 50% of the time and still make it to infinite. But half the time you're retreating, you're not having fun. You've called this game, I saw someone post it, it's not MarvelSnap, it's called Marvel Retreat. That's exactly what you've turned the game into. You make the snap mechanic force people to retreat. That's why there should be a game mode where there's no snap mechanic. There should just be concede or you play to the end. You play to the end, you take a L, you get a loss. You concede, you get half a loss. So you still get penalized, you just get half a loss.
My own tinfoil hat theory is that the decks do not play on the MarvelSnap ladder at all. If you play on the ladder, you will see all these problems yourself after 5 games. I agree completely, but then what if they don't see them as problem? We had an answer some time ago that I covered in one of my videos where they say that they do play the game, but when they go into the development, they separate the player from the developer.
Yep.
So in their work, they don't think as a player, they think as a developer. They say it. I didn't say it. They said it.
He's right.
So there you go. They play other games because they know their own game sucks. Brother, if we are bored, they have to be bored. They have to know all this shit I am talking about is bad right now.
No, they don't. Because what's happening is they have to let the bottom line be the bottom line. Money trumps all in their world. You know, the Bible says it very clearly. The love of money, not money, the love of money is the root of all evil. That's the problem. Companies, businesses, a lot of businesses, trust me, I've worked for some that the love of money had led them to do some of the most evil things. And it bites you in the you-know-what. And all I'm saying is, this is going to bite you. They make decisions that are money-based. Look how trash Snow Guard is. Snow Guard comes out. She's supposed to influence the locations. And I think it was Jeff Hoogland. He stated that she like only impact out of 100+ locations. She only impacts like 20 or 30 locations. How retarded is that? Sorry. So you're going to spend 6,000 tokens to impact 20 to 30 locations out of 100+ locations, and they're going to keep adding more? So then you buy Snow Guard in hopes that they're going to keep adding more locations that she can impact? Come on. You guys got to stop, man. This game is boring. They're going to nerf Shuri. Shuri's going to be stupid to play. Give it 3 days, because I think it was April 18th. They said it. 3 days. You'll see. Shuri's going to be something like one of two things. It'll be she doubles the next card you play the very next turn, which means you can't play 6 on turn 6 the way you want to, which I hope they do that. If they're going to do anything, it should just be next turn. Or it's going to be like she increases the power by 5 or by no more than 10. She doubles the power of your card up to 10. And you're like, bro, this is so stupid. Stop it. Like, I'm just telling you, man. Stop making Shuri and all these cards weaker than they really are. Shuri is a great idea. This is the problem. It's like somebody's there coming up with great ideas. Leader was a great idea. Zabu was a great idea. Silver Surfer was a great idea. Whoever came up with those ideas, let them keep impacting the future cards. The people who keep nerfing the cards, get rid of them. That's who needs to go. It should be only buffs who work at second dinner. You need to buff everything. Stop nerfing.
I am convinced they play their min-tier decks and cards against each other and who is Sandman leashing their friends. Maybe that's what happened. They just play battle mode between them and play with fun decks. Because let me tell you, do you really think they have a good player in the team? Maybe they have one, and other 20 dudes are just rank 20 enjoyers, you know. Will playing Hawk on turn 5 disable ongoing effects for the end of the game? For example, if you're playing Cerebro 2 or 3 and you play cards into negative zone and they play Hawk on turn 5, will cards still be affected by the debuff and miss out on the Cerebro buff? Hawk mentions that location effects are disabled next turn, but then is the end of the game considered part of turn 6, or will the location react to finish up the game? They are referring here to the Hawk that is provided by the new card, Snow Guard. That, by the way, I tweeted this and I shared it in a post in YouTube too. I didn't even know that we were getting a new card because I didn't care, because nobody cares. Who the fuck cares about the Snow Guard, motherfucker?
Nobody cares, man.
Pay 6K for that shit. No, you are saving your tokens.
I still have Kitty Pryde pinned.
Am I a mind reader? I am not a mind reader. I just know that is what you do because all these fucking cards suck dick and you don't have a lot of tokens, so you have to save up your tokens, don't you? So nobody gives a fuck about the Snow Guard. Nobody gives a fuck about the Stegron. Nobody gives a fuck about any of that shit.
He's so right. No one cares, man. I still got Kitty Pryde pin. The only card that I have left is what? Master Mold? So let me pull it up real quick. I'll pull up my MarvelSnap. The only card left that I really want, well, there's two. Because stature is cool, because when discard becomes legitimate, then I'm definitely going to want to have stature. But right now, discard I still think is it's just missing something. So there's really no need for me to use discard right now. It seems like the only thing viable to play is Hela. And even that doesn't win all the time. So it's kind of like, ugh. So let me pull this up. I'm going to show you the cards that I don't have, which is not a lot. I have quite a bit of the cards in the game. And let's remove the sound altogether. Let's go big. Let's go big or go home. All right, so we go to quality. I mean, look at this. I'm the guy beating the brakes off of you. I'm the guy who's playing the cards. If you're in pool 3 and you match with me, I'm throwing the gauntlet at you. You're not having a good experience when you play against me. Look what I don't have. Ghost? You think I'm running to get Ghost? And I'm going to get her when she drops. And then there's Master Mold. I do want Master Mold. I think I can create a fun deck where I could just spam you and be annoying. I don't want Snow Guard. I want Stature because cost 1 if your opponent discards a card from their hand this game. Hell yeah, we doing that. Just by that alone, man. Come on. A 1/7. And then this she'll be, oh, Kitty Pryde is amazing. So I want Kitty Pryde for sure. And then Stature and Master Mold. But do I even think these are worth 6K tokens? No, definitely not. Is Kitty Pryde worth 6K tokens? From what I'm seeing from some of the gameplay before she got nerfed, I do think she is. But again, like, come on. Then there's High Evolutionary, and then the Howard the Duck, and I think this is Ironclad, and you know, some of these cards now, I do think what is the name of this card again? I keep forgetting. This card is going to be really good. But again, it's probably going to get nerfed. It's going to get nerfed. Because they keep nerfing cards in a vacuum. What they needed to have done was just release 1,000 cards in the game and then see how the cards are going to go that route, even if you were going to choose to nerf cards. So let's just minimize this. Let's get back to Jazzarus. Let's hear what he's got to say.
So I didn't even know what card was going to get released. And did it affect me? Not at all. I haven't found the card yet in a game. It hasn't been played against me. I didn't care. Nothing happened. Life continues the same.
He's so funny, man.
No, the location will resume being active during calculation at the end of the game. Yes, exactly, because the end of the game is an extra step. It is not the same thing. I understand this, and this is kind of obvious, right? It is intuitive. It is intuitive. Hi, Roll9, my dude. How you doing, brother? How you doing, bro?
Again, follow Jazzarus on YouTube. Follow this guy on Twitch. Just a reminder, I'm responding to his video.
This dude must be
follow him.
Tired of people talking about the fucking leech. At this point, this dude is just going to delete leech just so people stop asking him about leech, dude. Because at this point, it has to be fucking annoying. A card like Leech citing a desire to prevent big final turns. By design, each round provides more energy than the last, and the higher cost cards often have the most powerful abilities. Having a game won by turn 5 is and should be rare because it would diminish the snag mechanic, what I said just before. So by its very nature, is your game not essentially based on explosive final turns? What I just said. So we the players understand this. How the fuck don't they understand it? Wes, let's see what he responds first. Why would you try to prevent that exact?
I can't disagree with what the guy is saying, but this guy's promoting to nerf Leech. I'm not for that. A number of occasions you have justified cards like Leech citing a desire to prevent big final turns. By design, each round provides more energy than the last, and the higher cost cards often have the most powerful abilities. Having a game won by turn 5 is and should be rare because it would diminish the snap mechanic. So by its very nature, is your game not essentially based on explosive final turns? Why would you try to prevent that? There's a big difference between turn 6 being the most important turn, fun, and turn 6 being the only important turn, not fun. I mean, I think in this case I agree with Glenn because I don't think we should nerf anything, but I also think Glenn should add, so that's why we're working on making every card overpowered so that you could win on turn 5 or on turn 6, or you could see the writing on the wall on turn 1 or 2 or 3 because the deck style that they're playing.
Exactly, brother. What I just said, I am not the only one that thinks this way. There's a big difference between turn 6 being the most important turn, fun, and turn 6 being the only important turn, not fun. But it is. It is. The game is exactly like that. It has always been like that. Seeing what your opponent is doing and deducing which locations they're fighting for or trying to trick you into fighting for is one of the most enjoyable parts of a snap. Yes, it is, but at the same time, the same snap mechanic prevents you from doing that a lot of the times, because if you can't fight for those locations, you just retreat, and then you don't have the turn 6, which you are saying is the most important turn, and you are saying is fun. So you are incentivizing me to retreat on the 4th turn if I am not going to win this shit. So I am not having fun. But again, that is my grudge with the snap mechanic, and that isn't going to go anywhere because the whole game revolves around that. But then, if you have the snap mechanic, you have to understand the question that this dude is telling you in here. The turn 6 is the most important turn, and you have to make it fun, not prevent us from having fun with this leech shit.
Yeah.
We love decks that explode on turn 6 existing, but we also want to ensure there are plenty of equally strong decks that don't. No, bro. Every good deck is like this, by the way. Think about it. What are the best fucking decks in the game every fucking time?
Well, that's not true, because technically a Galactus deck, ideally, you ready? A Galactus deck stops you on turn 5 the way you want it to play out. You wave turn 3. Galactus turn 4. Who's coming out on 5? Spider-Man, right? Spider-Man comes out on turn 5, game over. Turn 5, because you know, even if that person doesn't have enough power on the board, and your opponent's leading on turn 5 after Spider-Man comes out, turn 6, there's no reason for you to take the risk and stay for turn 6. Maybe if they use the Shang-Chi earlier, but you wouldn't in that case because you're Galactus. So you wouldn't have used Shang-Chi. Turn 3, wave. Turn 4, Galactus. Turn 5, Spider-Man. I didn't mention Shang-Chi. So in this case, that's ideal, and the game's over in turn 5. Even if that person somehow puts out like an Iron Man, or they put out Death, don't matter none, because you don't know what they have. So, they could even put down Valkyrie. You leave. Even if you have an armor down in that lane and you somehow figured out how to put down a massive card that can't be destroyed. Maybe if you do Null, but even in that case, if you just had Null in that lane, they might have a Null too. And you can't put any more power down. You leave. So I'm sure there's many other examples you can see. By turn 5, you're out.
Zeta decks that explode on the last turn. In one time, believe it or not, in the beta game, Mr. Negative was the best deck, and it exploded on the last turn. Shuri explodes on the 5th and 6th turn, but sometimes it explodes only on the 6th turn with the She-Hulk Taskmaster combo. MarvelSnap's best decks explode on the 6th turn, and that is how the game fucking works. We have a 2 energy 2 power card that gives information on a critical turn to guarantee your play is most effective, and he's talking about Daredevil in here, of course. Why is this costed like Tech Card Armor at 2 rather than say Cosmo at 3 or Storm at 3? Storm denies a lane at the cost of losing ramp on turn 3. The general point being Daredevil gives critical information at no real cost. How do you come to this decision from a design perspective? Do you guys think Daredevil is a problem? I really don't see Daredevil as a problem, bro. I believe he's a cool card. I like Daredevil.
Daredevil's not a problem.
Daredevil is a problem. Let's see what Glenn says in here. Daredevil's cost is his inefficiency. He's below rate on curve and way below rate of curve. Daredevil could exist at a handful of costs with different power, but making it cheaper is a bit more interesting because playing him on curve creates tension and uncertainty around whether you should snap before revealing you have Daredevil. I wasn't here when Daredevil was released, so I can't speak to a specific of the sign's intent, but he seems right and balanced at Tucos. I agree with this.
Glenn, you might be part of the problem. Glenn might be part of the problem. You weren't here when Daredevil was released? You weren't here, Glenn? So were you a part of the leader nerf? Were you a part of the Zabu nerf? Were you a part of the Silver Surfer nerf? I caught the little details in what you just said. So you should be the one fired, I bet. I'm sure it should be him. Get him out of here. Oh, my goodness. Because you're robbing. You know what? And people might go, that's really mean for you to say, Lem. No, it's not. Because they're robbing me. They're robbing you. If you've spent any money on this game, the fact that these, and I can only call them little kids because there's some young people who are just so dumb. You're younger than me. And you sound so stupid. You know, it's so funny. The Bible's so accurate. The Bible says that during the end times, people are going to start calling good evil and evil good. And now you're seeing these stupid kids and these stupid people on YouTube defending these companies. And I'm not saying this is Jazzarus, by the way. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is I'm watching YouTubers, I'm watching Twitch streamers, I'm watching these people in the comments, and they say some of the stupidest things. You haven't played enough digital games. This must be your first digital card game, huh? Word? So you've just been used to people robbing you regularly on a regular basis, and you sat back and did nothing? You sat back and said nothing? And you think I'm just going to join in with you and just be like, yeah, let's all get robbed together? That's not how this works. There's some people who have justification that runs through their blood. There's some people who stand for doing the right thing. Guess who's one of those people? Me. So I'm not going to sit here and just allow people to just run me over and be okay with it. You need to be able to stand up for yourself. You don't got nobody who raised you to be a perfect, or not a perfect, to raise you to be an upstanding human being. Y'all cats need role models. You need people in your life to speak up. Now you should have a smart tongue, right? My mom would say not everything that's good for eat is good for talk. So that's basically saying not everything you need to stand up for, you stand up for. It depends on the situation. You got to be smart about it. There's things you could do that could cost your life. There's things you could do that can ruin your career. I'm not saying you take the easy ride out every time. That's not what I'm saying. It's just be wise and smart. In this case, it's wise and smart to stand up. What's going on here? This company is robbing from you. And just because they put in a little disclosure that we don't offer refunds does not give them justification to rob from you and take away from you something that you rightfully purchased with your own hard-earned money. I don't value money the way other people do. But that doesn't mean that I don't understand the work that it takes to earn it. We live in America. We technically make up 20 to 30% of the wealth in the world. Just being in America. Now, you compare me and you, the average American, to Bill Gates. Well, then, yeah. But you and me, who don't make that kind of Bill Gates money, but we make American money, you look at the rest of the world is broke compared to you and I. It's not broke, ain't even the right word. Poor. We first world country, they eighth world country compared. Now, it's technically third world, but you get my point. I'm exaggerating that for you to get the understanding. You making $30,000 a year, you are rich compared to the majority of the rest of the world. Stop it. That does not justify them to steal from us. That's what they're doing. They're stealing from us. You pay money to get a card. The card should work a particular way. Let's think about the fact that you're putting hard-earned money in something digital. I never get to hold Shuri in my hand. I didn't hold Leader in my hand. I'm not holding Elektra and Sunspot in my hand. It's on a freaking screen. I'm paying for artwork. I'm paying for words and an algorithm and a mechanic behind a card, and you're going to change that? The whole thing was visual in the first place. And you think that's okay? No, they are disrespecting you. Just spitting in your face. So you need to turn on them and say, hey, respectfully, you need to give me my money back. You need to make this right. You need to stand up.
or Killmonger can take them out, which incentivizes explosive. Final third place. Daredevil is fine. Yes, Daredevil is cool. One thing that I think feels really bad about the game is when you make your play, lock it in, and then your opponent snaps, and you have to completely reevaluate your position, but you have about 3-5 seconds to do it before the turn starts. Are you guys planning to add a feature that unlocks your play if your opponent snaps into you? This is another thing.
I totally agree with this. He's about to go into, let me hear him first.
Why isn't this part of the game already? This makes the game objectively better.
Yes,
and
it does.
Says, we considering things like this. It's not a minor change.
Oh my gosh.
Motherfucker, you are just considering it. This makes the game objectively better. There is no downside to this. Everybody will love this happening. Why are you considering it? Your answer should be...
I think they're considering it, Jazzarus, because cards like Kang exist. They thought it would be cool to force everybody to buy Kang because now Kang can be in everyone's deck. And now you can just snap with impunity and then have the snap reset at the end of the game. So they decided the idiot who works at Second Dinner who came up with Kang, and I like Kang, but they're realizing that by doing this, think about, read the question or read the statement and question. One thing that I think feels really bad about the game is when you make your play, lock it in, and then your opponent snaps, and you have to completely reevaluate your position, but you have about 3 to 5 seconds to do it before the turn starts. Are you guys planning to add a feature that unlocks your play if your opponent snaps into you? And think about what Kang does. Kang, when you play him, you snap before you play him. When you snap with Kang, what does he do? He reveals what your opponent's going to do on that next turn or the final turn, which is typically people want to play him. After you've snapped, he resets the snap to the original, to where it became. Like, it doesn't go all the way. It's not like you go back to like 1 cube and 2 cubes to gain. You could snap and go to 8 cubes, but you were originally at 4 cubes. And then when you snap with Kang, it goes to 8 cubes. When Kang gets revealed, it drops you back to 2 cubes at stake, 4 cubes to gain if you go to the end of the game. So the reason why Glenn is saying we're considering things like this, it's not a minor change, is because it directly goes into opposition of cards like Kang. Now, I do think Kang should have a much more interesting mechanic. He shouldn't just reset the snap. And if anything, here's what they should do. Make the change here for the 3 to 5 seconds and allow you to be able to retreat and reconsider your snap. But then with Kang, they should allow Kang, if you were to use Kang, to reset the entire game snapping back to 1-2. Then at the very least, when you play Kang, it's a moot point for either person. Then if everybody wants to snap at the end and go, you know what, I think I got a better card, I think you got a better card, everyone just re-snaps back up to the 8 cubes if they choose to. Then Kang, the real mechanic behind Kang would be, see what your opponent does, reset the cube bidding back to 1 cube, 2 cubes if no one snapped. Then you reset the snaps of everybody that happened the whole game. That would make more sense. Then if you don't use Kang and you have this situation going on with Hawks and Bears and Mad Max of Oh My, then with this one, all you do is just allow that person to be able to, you give them the option of like, do you still want to snap? Do you still want to double down? Then you can reset and then you could just retreat and leave with the amount of cubes that you originally had before you snapped, or the amount of cubes you would have lost before you snapped. Hopefully that makes sense.
We are working on this. No EDA, by the way, but at least you are working on it. But you are just considering it. What is this shit?
They're considering it, Jazzarus.
Because, again, the whole game revolves around the snap mechanic.
It does.
Snapping is information.
But, again, they don't care about you and your playing experience. They care about you spending money, Jazzarus. So they want you to buy Kang. That's what they're saying to you. Buy Kang. We want you to get Kang. If you want to stop this from happening, Kang should be in everyone's deck. Because then you can reset the snap to the original one. Then you can snap very strategically. Right? That means if you have Kang, you shouldn't be snapping until you hit turn 5. And then, or turn 6. And then you snap to raise the stakes. And then when you play Kang, you reset it back to a 1-2 or a 2-4, depending on your opponent snapping. That's what they want you to do.
So when your opponent snaps, you have to reconsider what you are doing. Maybe something changes. Maybe you want to change your play, but you can't. And there are some motherfuckers, some pieces of shit that exploit this interaction and snap you at the very last moment of the turn, and you can do shit about it.
In my opinion, he's just entertaining right now. That's like, I don't really think he's this angry. I don't really think he's like about to burst a blood vessel. I just think he's honest, but he's like over exaggerating his reaction. I love this about this guy. This kid is hilarious to me. My wife and I love him saying, "Is this a stupid? Is this a stupid?" I love that. He's just too good. He's too good.
How are you telling me that you are just considering it? And then you say it's not a minor change. Do you think the player fucking cares? We don't care. Fix it. It's your job. You are making $20 million a month. I am sure you can fix it.
Glenn ain't making 20. Second Dinner making 20. Glenn may be making like 80 plus a year.
They still haven't added that feature. No, they haven't added that feature, brother. They're talking about making the reserves based on the day you gave them, and if they make that chance that this will definitely push more players away, knowing they can save more reserves at a time. By the way, they have been saying they are going to change that since the token shop release, like in November or December, and we are mid-April, and we don't have that shit yet. Motherfucker. When roping out the snapping in the last 5 seconds of
this next question,
it's stupid.
This next question points to the problem. So read Glenn. I read in advance. I only watched like the first 2 minutes of his video, maybe 3. Saw his first comment and I wanted to react. So all of this is new. I mean, we're only 14 minutes in. And read this. Devs team ideal meta. Well, here's what Glenn says. I'm sure different devs vary on this based on some personal dilections. I don't even know if that's a word. Maybe it's directions, but maybe it's a word I just don't know. The guiding light I use to evaluate decisions is ensuring there's enough diversity among both the successful and popular decks. Excuse me. It should be about all decks. That's the first problem with his first paragraph. We specifically don't aim any general strategy to sit on top. If we can solve the metagame internally without live data, that's a sure sign it's not going to be dynamic enough to stay interesting for players. So we try to make lots of strong things and also 1 or 2 ways to exploit each thing, thus cycling what's best as different things get targeted. That's the goal, at least. There's the problem. What did I say from previous videos? They need to make cards that are overpowered, and they need to create more than 1 counter or 2 counters to every card in the game. Look what he just admitted. So they're going to keep creating overpowered cards, but only give you 1 or 2 options max. And guess what? When you have cards like Cosmo just automatically, he stops all on-revealed cards. So any new on-reveal card that's super califragilistic, they're going to force you to put Cosmo in the deck. That's why they don't change. That's why they're never going to change Cosmo. That's why they're never going to change Shang-Chi. They've just decided that that's one of the 2 cards that we're going to use to counter. So more than likely, all the cards they're going to ever create, all the counters already exist in the game, which means every new card that's super overpowered that comes in the game will be nerfed. They just told you. He's telling on himself. He's saying it to you. So we try to make lots of strong things and also 1 or 2 ways to exploit each thing. Every card should be strong, but they're only giving you a few to counter. What should happen is every card we have is strong and every counter we have is strong. Everything we do is strong. We're going to hit you strong, right in the face. Jab, jab, uppercut, right hook. That's what it should be every time. Not, we're going to make everything strong and hopefully we have 1 or 2 counters to it. Which means what? Based on his definition, what has this led to? Them nerfing cards. They made Shuri strong, Leader strong, Zabu strong, Silver Surfer strong. What's happening to those cards, or what has happened? I don't hear anything, because you know the answer. They've nerfed them. They've been nerfed. So he's telling on himself. We don't know what we're doing. We make super strong cards, and then we nerf them.
It's just stupid as fuck. Deck things ideal meta. This is a good question. I'm sure different decks vary on this based on some personal
Let's see what he has to say about this.
The guiding light I use to evaluate decisions is ensuring there's enough diversity among both the successful and popular decks. We specifically don't aim any general strategy to sit on top. If we can solve the meta game internally without live data, that's a sure sign it's not going to be dynamic enough to stay interesting for players. So we try to make lots of strong things and also 1 or 2 ways to exploit each thing. Thus cycling what's best at different things get targeted. That's the goal, at least. I agree, but that is why you have to keep making changes constantly, because when players solve the meta, then you throw them a curveball, you shake things up, and then they have to do it again, and they have to do it again. So
See, this is where we're diametrically apart here. Like, it's not even close. You're wrong, Jazzarus. You're wrong. They should not have control over the meta. They should not have. The only control they should have is that they release new cards. They don't keep changing existing cards. If they change existing cards, the only change would be what? Buff. I'm telling you, I don't understand why I really do feel like I'm the only one saying this. And it doesn't make sense. Like, am I just part of the generation where more is more? Like, why does the new generation just think nerfs are a thing? It's like they love the word nerf more than they love the word buff. No one wants more anymore. Everyone wants you to take away from them. Like, who wants to go through life being like, all right, I guess it's kind of like the video games, right? You play Resident Evil, and then Resident Evil goes, we're going to give you 6 bullets. Go through this entire mansion filled with zombies and survive. Go. You know what I did? I bought the DLC that gave me unlimited ammo. That's what I did. Bump your 6 bullets. Now you might go, well, you weak, bro. You can't beat the game. I'm trying to have fun. So maybe you can make the argument with Resident Evil. I will concede. But with MarvelSnap, no, bro. You just keep making the game unfun. It's a free-to-play game. There's nothing fun about that. Wreck every card in the game and let me figure out what's the best way to play. No, bro. No. Make every card overpowered. And let people have amazing ideas of what they can come up with. Not just go, strip me of all of my resources. Leave me with a bandage and a bottle and a hammer, and I'll figure it out. Then you take the hammer away, and you're like, I just got the bandage and the bottle, and I just made the most amazing thing. And all of a sudden, all I got is a bottle left. Boy, I'm about to take that bottle. That's not fun. Give me a time machine and go, Lem, do something. Oh, snap. Now I could do it all, right? Give me something amazing. Don't limit me. That's what they're doing. They're limiting me.
So you keep changing the stuff, And that way you don't get a stale meta game.
Disagree.
But we have had a stale meta game for 2 fucking months because you have made changes, but they have been stupid changes. So we only get 1 change a month, and when you do it, it is a stupid change. Of course.
Here's why it's so dumb, right? Because now you let second dinner be your problem. You're empowering second dinner. When you think this way, you're going to always be on complaint mode, because if they don't ever do what you want, you're never going to be happy about it, because you keep forcing them to make the change for you when they shouldn't be making changes to existing cards that are negative. They should just be buffing everything and coming out with newer cards to buff. So this reasoning is flawed within itself. Hey, second dinner, we all hate Leech, right? Yeah, I created a YouTube video. Leech is lame. He's so stupid. Yeah, let's get rid of him. Yeah, you agree? Yeah, I agree. Ah, and then, come on, nerf him, nerf him, nerf him, nerf him. April 18th come. Oh, you didn't nerf him. Come on, man. Ah, that's so stupid. How about April 18th come? Well, as Ben Brode here, we're here because we're going to release 20 cards that you've never seen. And then you're going to go, bam, look at this card. Bam, look at this card. Bam, look at these other 18 cards. Now what can you do with them? You let us know. Have fun. That's what this game should be. It should be Ben Brode doing stupid videos of releasing 20 cards, showing you what they're like, and then he just goes 0 Dark 30 to the next jump, the next update. Then you and I can come up with the meta and be like, bro, I got this other meta. There should be dozens of metas because all the cards, right, are viable. Not from being nerfed, from being so puffed up. Y'all act like when we all go to heaven, God's going to be like, everybody weak. So now we all the same. No, God, when we go to heaven, we all about to be powerful, dog. We're going to be seated by the right hand. We're going to be right there with Jesus. We're made in his image. God, heaven's going to be incredible. I don't want to go religious with this, but like even God got better plans. Like, come on. And God made us, so why can't we use his steps and his direction to apply to our reasoning when it comes to the stuff we want to do? We're going to have no limitations. We're not going to have to poop in heaven. We still get to eat. We still get to eat and we don't have to poop. Praise the Lord. Isn't that wonderful? Come on, guys. Let's have our cake and eat it too. We can do it. We can have heaven on earth on this planet right now. We can start with second dinner and MarvelSnap, and then we can work our way around the politics and the countries. Let's just start being smart about this, guys. Come on.
The meta game is stupid, motherfucker. It is obvious. You don't have to be a genius. And yes, they said last week that they are going to start balancing the game weekly. And that is good. That is great. I love that. Thank God for that. That is a good thing for the game. But then these changes that you do weekly have to be impactful, bro.
That's the problem. You guys are stupid. This is going to kill the game. The only thing that should be done weekly is releasing new cards or buffing cards. That's it. Hey, we saw cards in the game weren't being played as much. We buffed the crap out of them. Enjoy. Drop mic. Not, hey, man, we saw this one card is being played too much. So think about this. They're saying to you, I really want you to think about this. Right now, you playing with some cards. Let's pull them up. All right, I still got MarvelSnap here. You ready? I don't even think you realize what they're actually saying to you, and you just don't get it. They're saying to you right now, Sunspot's being played a lot, so we don't want to do anything about Sunspot. We're going to nerf Sunspot, right? So they nerfed him. But you know there's cards in the game right now that's not being played a lot. You want to find out? Let's kind of go through them, right? What's not being played a lot? Probably Ant-Man's not being played a lot. Let's go Elektra. So what are they doing? Instead of buffing Elektra, they're nerfing the card that you're playing a lot. Sunspot. Does that sound smart? We're going to keep nerfing cards until Elektra becomes viable. So we never have to buff Electra. We only have to nerf Sunspot and every other card in the game that you play. You see why that's stupid? So they're not going to make Electra better. They're going to just remove Sunspot and make him worse. And now you, the dummy you are, not Jazzarus, but the whole community of YouTubers and people who think that nerfing is okay, you don't realize that their reasoning is, we're going to take all the fun you are having and we're going to make it worse. And then all the cards that you think aren't fun, what are we going to do? Nothing. That's so stupid. Be smart, people. Because they know, you know, and I know. Angel, trash. Electra, trash. Squirrel Girl, trash. M'Baku, trash. Mantis, trash. Korg, Rocket, Raccoon, trash. Quicksilver, he's probably the worst card in the game. Snowguard, trash. Uatu, trash. Yondu, trash. Blade only discards the cards you want. Trash. Like, all these cards are trash. Are they buffing them? No, but what did they do? They nerfed Angela. Everybody liked playing Angela. Remember that when she was a 2-2 or a 2-1? I'm listening. I'm showing you what they've been doing. So how can you prove me wrong? They're going to keep nerfing the cards you like and never buff anything. Forge. You see Forge everywhere? Did they make a Forge a 2-5? No, because then people would actually play him. What did they do? Nothing. Just like you just heard. I said nothing. They did nothing. They didn't buff Forge. What did they do to Collector? They nerfed Collector. Was everyone playing Collector a while back? Yeah, they were. Do people play Cable? No. You think they're going to buff Cable? Nope. Because you're not playing them. Now, I'll give them Hazmat. They buffed Hazmat. But how did they buff Hazmat? We're going to make her a 2-2. She was a 2-1, guys. Now she's a 2-2. You see what I'm saying? That means their philosophy is diametrically opposed to just buff cards to make cards more viable. Their philosophy is, if our card sucks, we don't think we should buff them. We think we should nerf the good cards that don't suck. Just saying.
They have to be refreshing, because if they are stupid changes, nothing is going to happen. And yes, I am trying to talk quieter to not bust my voice. I actually thought the Surfer meta before he got nerfed was good. The deck did not even put out as much points as Shuri Red Skull. Brother, I enjoyed the Silver Surfer meta game. I enjoyed it. The Zabu meta game was less enjoyable, but the Silver Surfer was better.
Wrong. Zabu was just as great. The problem was you needed more Zabu-like cards. Imagine if they had a card that wasn't Zabu, but just like Zabu, that decreased the cost of all your 3-cost cards. And then they had one that decreased the cost of your 1-cost down to 0. And then they had one that decreased your cards of all your 5-costs and your 4-costs, which is Zabu. And then your 6-costs get decreased by 1. Now you could have that card included in most of those decks just for 5-costs or just for 4-costs or just for 3-costs. You know how great that would be? And then you have cards like Leech that leech everything. And then you have cards that counter Leech. So people can still play their 4-cost cards, stop Leech from happening, and then keep going. That would be so much fun if you could counter Leech and Cosmo regularly and Enchantress and still play your cards. But everything in this game is limiting, retreating, limiting, nerfing of every good card that we have in the game, limiting. Everything's limiting.
But the one we have now is not enjoyable at all. I would say the leader metagame was less enjoyable than this one, but the thing is that the leader metagame lasted for a few weeks. This has been for 2 months, and that is a problem. It is like, yes, it is better than the leader, but I am in this shit for 2 months. I am bored the fuck out, and it is not a healthy metagame in the first place at all. So that makes it worse, you know. That makes it worse. The leader was.
You're forever gonna be bored because you keep relying on second dinner to make you happy by making the negative changes you want them to make. And then guess what? They're going to be bored. How are they going to be happy? They can't focus on what's most important, which is what? Creating new cards. They have to focus on constantly tweaking whatever they already built. And not tweaking it to make it function better. Tweak it to make you happy. I don't know how many times I have to say it this way.
Effectively worse, but in just like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. This has been for 2.5 months, something like that. The more money they leak the game like this, the more DC Dual Force will benefit, and I hope so. DC Dual Force has in their best interest to take a look at MarvelSnap, see the mistakes they are making, and not make it themselves, because we don't know much about DC Dual Force, so I don't want to overhype myself and people like Dual Force is going to solve this, because what if when we see what the game is like. Bye. Bendición. Te amo. My mom is going out, so she came to say bye for now, you know. She's going to
he be talking stuff like that with his mom around, bro?
So
I'm 36. My mom would slap me talking like that, man.
DC Dual Force and the hype. I don't want to say that, oh, DC Dual Force is going to solve everything and it will be cool, because we don't know anything about the game yet, you know. Maybe they do some stupid shit that is going to fuck everything up. But I do hope that they make it right, you know. So it is in the team behind DC Dual Force best interest to take a look at the mistakes that MarvelSnap is making and not make it themselves. Seize the opportunity that MarvelSnap is burning out players, that they have a stupid collection system, and advertise that you aren't doing that. You know, I would be the most unethical advertiser if I worked for DC Dual Force. I would say, here we have a game where you can have a full collection. We aren't going to gatekeep you. You can have fun in our game. You can finish games in our games. I will exploit the shit out of that. And the best thing you can say, something Marvel could never do and would get you the most people possible. You just say, we have Batman, motherfucker. We have Batman. Do they have Batman? They don't have fucking Batman, dude. Even if the meta was healthy, I would still get bored because only one game mode, and that is true, bro. Conspiracy theory that Shuri will get nerfed as soon as she drops to Series 3. Brother, and you know what? I was one of the persons that didn't think like that. I'd say, no, brother, the balance thing just balances things out based on the meta game, you know. Brother, but it is true. Shuri has been bullshit since she was released into Series 5. And they didn't nerf it. They didn't nerf her. They didn't nerf her. She got to Series 4. They didn't nerf her. They didn't nerf her. Now we are 2 weeks away or 10 days away or something like that from her releasing to
gonna
Series
be on
3,
Series 3,
they have already
and they're gonna
announced
nerf
that
her.
they are going to nerf her.
Yep.
Maybe it is just a fucking coincidence, but
that's why Thanos and Galactus won't be nerfed. Well, Thanos was already nerfed, but that's why Galactus won't be nerfed. And that's why they won't strip Thanos of everything, because if they did, then they know people wouldn't be willing to spend the money on it. So the love of money is the root of all evil. I said it. So I'm going to stop right here. I'll pick it back up later. Got to take a shower, do my own thing. So it's been an hour and 23 minutes, and this would be the most ridiculously long rendered video that I would probably ever do. So we're going to stop it here. I'll post it. It's going to already be on Twitch, and it will definitely be on YouTube later. But I'll pick up part 2 where hopefully we'll speed this up and we'll watch the rest of Jazzarus' video here for my reaction. So I'm glad you guys joined me. Hopefully you got a lot of fun from this. Again, follow Jazzarus. Follow him on YouTube. Follow him on Twitter. Follow him on Twitch. Check him out at Jazzarus. Really fun guy. 957 subscribers. Let's get him more. 205 videos. He's a funny guy. I like him. A little vulgar. You know, don't mean that I don't curse, but I try not to represent myself publicly in that way. I don't think it really helps. So, but hey, as always, I'm the Lemesis, your nemesis. If you don't know the Lord Jesus Christ, you should get to know him. So say the Lord's Prayer and become a Christian. It'll be the best thing that ever happened to you. I love you. Peace, love, and hap. Talk to you later.